the narrative has always been constructed about what other people think we are or what we do. There's so much material that has been taken away from our people. When we're in this sort of time frame of, let's say, the 1900s, these collections are developing very quickly, sometimes from robbing graves, sometimes premeditated violence and taking materials that way. Other times they were taken from morgues. The support from the natural history societies, the police superintendents and other colonial officials, they all become stakeholders in this group of collecting cultural artifacts and materials, and they would get sent to the police houses or to the local museums. And then this is the way that museums have become an institution of disciplining knowledge to your average Joe. And then this gets disseminated throughout society. And it starts this dominant narrative that people understand about Aboriginal people. Those materials inside institutions are kept from access. And so the scrutiny that I wanted to put on was for non-Indigenous peoples who are working in institutions or the sciences, academia, a number of different sort of settings. You know, why are so many of these materials within institutions continuing today? Why do several museums within Australia continue to house ancestral remains? Dialectic looks at open source materials that are to do with visual footage around museology, anthropology, things of that nature. And then I started to think about how can we magnify the different experiences of violence within the archive. A part of that was looking at sounds, very mundane sounds that you would hear in those settings, and trying to elevate those so they are quite violent. So the work traced with the sculptural element and the wall-mounted panels was some family history research I was doing of my own family, specifically around Brewarrina Mission. I came across a text written by American anthropologist, eugenicist Charles Davenport. Davenport led the American Institute of Eugenics for a number of decades. He also came to Brewarrina Mission in the 1920s and measured the limbs and skin color of my family. So the painted layers and the composition of the work is a reference to Paul Broca and his skin color chart. Reading these documents that are very noticeably violent and dehumanizing Aboriginal people, amateur anthropologists, including Davenport, would use Milton Bradley spinning tops, which they would put colored discs on the top of the spinning top, and once they rotate it, all of the colors would blend together. And they would put that next to the person's arm to measure how dark or light the skin tone was. The sculpture then was adorned with cultural carvings. Those designs are so heavily metaphorical that they relate to stories, the songs, biodiversity, weather phenomena, sky knowledges. It shows the lack of intelligence of some of those people writing those documents, because if they stopped for a minute to recognize how sophisticated our knowledge systems are, and this country would have been so much better off if some of those things were learnt and adhered to. The work Institutionalized, created in 2017 to coincide with the 30th anniversary of the Royal Commission into Aboriginal Deaths in Custody. It has a direct relationship with the over-criminalisation of Aboriginal people. And you can draw that thread back to the legacies of those racial archetypes created through sciences, that we are inferior, we are predetermined to be criminals. I actually based the structure of a craniometer used to measure those craniums. I subvert the measuring pins as spears and interchange the cranium for a globe. The spears are then putting the pressure back on human society to then really scrutinize those occurrences.